Well, hey fans, welcome back to another movie review, and today we're going to review Aquaman and the Lost Kingdom. So Aquaman and the Lost Kingdom is an action-adventure superhero film, once again directed by James Wan, starring Jason Momoa, Patrick Wilson, Yahya Abdul-Mateen II, Amber Heard, and just many other names. Of course, this is the final film in the DCEU, and in this installation, Arthur Curry, aka Aquaman, must team up with his half-brother Orm to stop Black Manta from reviving the Lost Kingdom, the seventh kingdom of Atlantis. Now, overall, I enjoyed this film. I really enjoyed this film. In a year where superhero movies tend to be kind of taking a dive, I thought this film was quite refreshing. It's nothing new. Everything in this film has definitely been done before. And in a nutshell, Aquaman and the Lost Kingdom is Thor: The Dark World. So, if you remember in Thor: The Dark World, it was about Thor teaming up with Loki to stop an ancient evil. That's exactly what's going on in this film. But it works. It works. I mean, you hear that superhero films have to reinvent, well, they have to do something new to bring in audiences. But that's not entirely the case. You just have to have a compelling story and make it refreshing. Every story has basically been told. And, teaming up with your former enemy to stop a greater threat is a story that has been told, and I think that this film did it well. So I've heard some criticisms that Jason Momoa is pretty much being Jason Momoa in the film, and he's not being Aquaman, and I kind of agree with that. He is a little bit more silly, a little bit more goofy than he was portrayed in previous films. He did always have that wild boy side to him, but he was more serious when, Zack Snyder was the creative vision behind the story. But he still works. There's nothing that's too far off that it would take you out of the character. The highlight of the film, though, is definitely Patrick Wilson as Orm. His chemistry with Jason Momoa just works. Like, they're kind of like, it's like a Goku and Vegeta type relationship. They hate each other, but they're bonded by family, and they're forced to work together to basically save the entire planet. The above water people and the people in the sea. And there's a very, very funny scene. There's many funny scenes with Patrick Wilson, but one that really had me laughing out loud in the theater was when they were on this island and they were running. And Patrick Wilson's doing like a Naruto run. He has his hands behind his body, and I'm like, what's going on here? Is he doing? What's the point of this? Is he doing it on purpose? What's the point? And then Aquaman actually points it out. He's like, why are you running like that? And they have a great reason why. He says, I've lived my entire life underwater. Rarely has there been an instance where I've had to run. So I was like, oh, that makes sense. He's an Atlantean. He swims everywhere. He doesn't really come to dry land. And if he does, he's walking. So it was a great scene and a great explanation, for my opinion. Now to talk about the elephant in the room. Amber Heard is Mira. And I'm of two sides to this. I never minded Amber Heard as Mira. I thought she was fine in the role. Zack Snyder casted her, and she did well in the scenes that she was given. In this movie, of course, with the drama behind her and Johnny Depp and, the lies she told about their relationship, and, there's a lot of drama around that. You can definitely tell it spilled over into this film because her scenes were drastically cut, and you can tell. It's not like she's not in the film. She's definitely in the film, but her character really doesn't play any part. She's just kind of there. She has one fight sequence, and then she gets injured, and then she's out, and she comes back towards the end of the movie. So, I mean, like I said, I like her. If she were recast, it wouldn't have hurt me. But, of course, Elon Musk prevented that. But in this movie, she's fine. She's serviceable in what she does. Temuera Morrison and Nicole Kidman, they come back as Aquaman's parents. Thomas Curry and Queen Atlanta. They're around. Atlanta gets a great fight scene against Black Manta alongside Mira, so that was pretty cool to see them riding sharks with laser beams attached to their head. That's what I thought about during that whole sequence, was Austin Powers, sharks with laser beams attached to their heads. And, David Kane, a.k.a. Black Manta, he has an even more comic accurate suit this time. He has that Black Trident. The evolution of his character from the first movie to this one, it works well, and Yahya embodies that role. And I wish we got to see him as Black Manta and more stuff. So overall, the effects, they're no worse than the first film. They're not great, but the first film's effects weren't great. The dialogue is cheesy. The first film had cheesy dialogue. Like, so all the stuff people are dogging on this film for, they praised in the first one, talking about how it was a throwback to 90s action films. This is the same thing. This is the same thing. So I'm not sure why people are saying it's so bad. It's not. It's fine. It's an enjoyable movie. Now, in terms of when should this movie come out? This is a summer blockbuster. Them pushing it back and releasing in the winter makes no sense. And this is the end of the DCEU. It's done after this. There'll be no more films, as far as we know, that will connect to this. This should have come out before The Flash. Should have come out before The Flash. And I'll get more into this on my spoiler review, but it really doesn't really have any connection to the other DCEU films. There was a scene with Ben Affleck's Batman that was cut. There was also a scene with Michael Keaton's Batman that was cut. And apparently those were done at the behest of James Gunn, who's now in control of all the DC films. And personally, I think that was a terrible idea, and it was just a very strange one. Like, he didn't want to, why do I want to teach people something that could come that's not coming? You already said it's done. So just let Ben Affleck have his role in this movie, and we know it's not going to go anywhere, but at least it will connect to the other stuff. Don't want to get too far into that. But the score is fun. The story's fun. Arthur Jr. is cool. And this is a funny sequence, and this is just my own thinking. I'm watching Aquaman with his son, and I'm like, why does this Samoan dude have this white baby? This baby looks so white to me. But then it started to make sense. In the film universe, Aquaman's mom, Atlanta, she's like a white Atlantean. His dad is Samoan. So his wife, Mira, is another white Atlantean. So if they have a baby, of course, that baby's going to have more white Atlantean DNA than human Samoan DNA. So it makes sense to me. Also, babies start out light all the time, no matter, what ethnicity you are. But that's besides the point. Did I enjoy this film? I did enjoy it. In terms of the score, I'm going to give it a decent 7.5 out of 10. I think this is a fun superhero film that you can take your family to see. Is it a great ending to the DCEU? Warner Brothers for this failed attempt at a superhero universe. I enjoyed it more than I hated it, I guess. But I thank you guys for joining me again for one of these movie reviews. Maybe you can watch the full video on YouTube and the website, flipfrogllc.com/flixfrog. You can find us on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and Reddit. And please, pretty please, make sure that you subscribe. And until next time, I'll be seeing you.